without the right mentors and coaches, I say you're fucked. Like, if you don't do things like what I've been talking about, like Mastermind group.
Welcome to the Gem Podcast. Hosted by Kwok. Gav is a millennial entrepreneur and digital nomad who went from broke college student to financial freedom in less than 3 months. This is the Gem Podcast. And this is Kwok.
Thank you for tuning in. My mission for this podcast is to help you, no matter what age or background you come from, to crush it in your professional and personal endeavors. Whether you're an entrepreneur or not, listen in to discover what it really takes to be successful. This podcast is raw, unfiltered, and not politically correct. If you're easily offended, then stop listening and get the fuck off. I created this podcast to help out those who are committed to being successful and wanting more out of life. I hope that with this podcast, I can help accelerate your journey to success. What up, y'all? This is Kwok coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Today we're going to be talking about the one thing that changed my life and change yours as well. So the one thing that changed my life was my environment. So what is environment? Environment is, in my definition, any external influences and anything around you that can affect you. Let's say the most significant environmental factor is definitely the people that you surround yourself with, whether that's your friends, family, people like you associate with on your phone, online, texts, whatever. Like, those are probably the most significant factor in your environment, and that can make or break you right there. If you have a negative environment with people that bring you down, and pretty much whenever you're trying to make a change for yourself and they question it or they don't support you in some way, like, that will fuck you up. Like, pretty much people who are toxic, I like to sometimes call them crabs, like people that pull you down. Like, they can't succeed, so you can't succeed as well. But if anyone is like that, cut them the fuck out. Like, you don't need those people in your life, unless you want to stay like where you are right now. Like, whether, like, if you're listening to this and you want something better for yourself, if you're not already successful and you want to be quote unquote successful, then you have to cut out anything that doesn't support you. Not just people, but that's kind of like a whole nother thing. Well, we'll just talk about people for now, and then I'll move on to other topics. So pretty much, how do you surround yourself with more successful people? So there's the whole old adage that's like, oh, you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with, by I think Jim Rohn said it. And even though it's cliche, it's extremely true, and in my life I found that to be 1000% true. Like, it is undeniable, and there's no fucking way that any person can be successful without the right environment. Just saying. For me personally, I started on this entrepreneurship journey about a year ago, and as soon as I stopped hanging out with people who had no ambition and weren't doing shit with their life, and surround myself with only people that were above me, or at least around the same, and they were like hustling and trying to like make moves in their life, that is when my life fucking changed. And like, I never believed it. I was like one of the people that were like, oh yeah, I can still have these people around, even though they're not doing stuff, they're still fun people, they're still cool people, isn't it? Like, what am I gonna do, just have no friends, blah blah blah. But like, here's the thing, like, if you're trying to like become more successful, like, you have to cut those people out. Like, it's harsh, it's controversial, blah blah, but you have to do it. Like, even if you have to be alone for a little bit and just only have pretty much online mentors, or if you're fortunate enough to go to like some live events and meet people, then like, that's what you got to do until you are successful. And then when you are successful, other successful people will want to hang out with you, because you know, there's not enough successful people. Like uh in my own personal life, I've found that it is so hard to find out the successful people. Like nobody's fucking successful. The only fucking place you're gonna find out the successful people in terms of like entrepreneurship, business, and whatnot is like at events, and you can't go to fucking every event because it's just the kind of a waste of time if you do. To be honest, I do recommend it. Going once in a while, maybe once every like few months, or when you just first start to get like that initial like boost of like environmental exposure and motivation to go and crush it. But after you go to like the first one, like fucking just work and like keep of course when you're at the event, like network with people and make sure that you're part of like a Telegram group or something, or WhatsApp group or whatever the fuck, and keep in contact with those people so like you have that environmental exposure through people talking about like the moves they're making and like, oh, we're doing this, and it's kind of like creates like a little bit of competition as well, because like nobody wants to look like they're not doing shit. I mean, most people anyway. Pretty much do that first, and after that I would highly recommend joining mastermind groups. For me, I joined Jet Set Flies in Inner Circle group, which used to be really poppin' when it first started, and there was like a small group. It was like 100 people. You pay like $100 a month to be part of it, and pretty much everybody in there, well, most people in there were pretty like ambitious people, young entrepreneurs, or people who are trying to make moves in their life. Uh, those were the people that I started to associate myself with, and I even like went to the first live event in Los Angeles, um, back in September. And when I went to that event, I think that's when things truly changed for me. Just being around like-minded people for like the first time, like a lot of them in one place, and not only that, but getting to talk with people like say Josh and a few other people who are making like 7 figures plus online, like 7 8 figures, was really freaking life changing. You can't underestimate it. Like like you just realize that they're regular people just like yourself. After that live event, like I was so inspired to like go back and like freaking hustle my fucking ass off to achieve that lifestyle where I could travel. Like when I first started, it was all about freedom and like being able to like just do whatever the fuck I wanted, and I wanted it so fucking bad. Um, like the freedom to like kind of do what I want when I want with who I want. That is what I was striving for, and I was working like as I mentioned in like my first podcast episode, like I was working like 12 to 16 hours a day during like my last semester of college, and I knew that I didn't want to get a job, and I knew how important it was to me to be successful. So, um, well, back to the topic of environmental exposure, like you have, um, you have to change your environment. Like, and not only like live events. I've only talked about live events, but you have to be listening to audiobooks all the time, or podcasts all the time, or reading books. Like having like the thoughts of people who are really successful in your head all the time. Um, like you have to be constantly listening to it. Like for me, I was listening to Josh's podcast, like, and other like YouTube like videos, but it was just in the background, like non-stop while I was working, and it was all like success content, like constantly in that environment. Like I wasn't listening to music while I was working. I was listening to like podcasts and yeah, these YouTube videos for 12, 16 hours a day, and like I freaking lived and breathed it. I could probably like recite like some of these success podcasts because I listened to like the same like 10 or 20 like over and over and over again. But like that's the shit that changes your life. Like you have to rewire your mindset for success. Because if you're not already successful, you don't have a success mindset. Because if you did, you'd probably already be successful. Just saying. Um, so pretty much, I say that like also using like public like declarations of what you're gonna do. Like, I would say, a lot of people use social media just to freaking waste time, but I say use social media to leverage yourself. Like, put it out there that you're doing stuff. Put it out there that you're gonna be successful. Put it out there that you're gonna be fucking killing it. Because if you do, like, you have that leverage of everyone around you, like everyone that you know, pretty much knowing what you're doing. Like, they're gonna be, whenever you see them, they're gonna be like, "Oh, yo, how's that? How's that business you're doing going? Or how's that thing you're doing? Like, how's it going?" And then, if you're not gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I haven't done anything," ho ho ho, like, no no no, like, you're gonna be fucking working on that shit all the time, uh, unless you just don't care about at all for some reason and you don't be successful. But most likely, like, you're gonna be fucking doing that shit. I use that a lot when I first started as well. I would like be posting my results, and I guess it sounds superficial, but like a part of me wanted to keep posting results like that, or even better results, and quote unquote like show off in a little in a in a little bit of a conceited way. Um, but yeah, I mean, you had to use what motivates you, and that was part of the reason. I guess I wanted to. You gotta. I will talk about this in a different podcast, but there's like different levels of motivation, and just a quick summary. Like, you got to use different hierarchies of motivation. Like, there's the highest level of motivation is like you wanna like help the world, and kind of like being selfless and achieving your highest aspirations for other people. Like, that would be the highest level of motivation. And then like the mid tier motivation is like, oh, you just want to like make money, create freedom for your life, and just like live an awesome life by working hard and uh, being successful. But yeah, that would be like mid tier. And then the lowest level of motivation is pretty much where you're doing something because you want to fuck someone over, or like you want to like, not even like fuck someone over, but like you want to just prove people wrong, and like all these people that doubted me, blah blah, like my friends, my family, my whatever, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, whatever the fuck, said I couldn't do it. Like, I'm gonna fucking prove all these motherfuckers wrong, all my haters, blah blah. Uh, yeah, or like or just maybe you want like a Lamborghini or something. Like, that could be like a lower level motivation, but you know that can be a motivating factor to you. So if you combine like all three layers of motivation into a core motivation, you'll always be inspired to work. So you have to also get mentors and coaches. This is kind of goes back to what I was saying before, but like why it's so important to be listening to podcasts or reading books is like, those are your mentors, like those are your coaches, like those people are much more successful than you, most likely. um, and like, if like you're listening to them and you like know that they're credible, like they're probably in a place that you want to be. Like, I always say, like, have a mentor that is in a place where you want to be. They can be even younger than you, um, or they can be a little bit older, but you have to like relate to that person, and you have to be. I say you have to believe that it's possible, um, through like their journey, like knowing about them and knowing that it's possible for you to do it as well. Which is kind of like a roundabout way of saying it, but um, if you don't do that, like without the right mentors and coaches, I say you're fucked. Like, if you don't do things like what I've been talking about, like mastermind groups, like public declarations of what you're gonna do, having mentors and coaches, and just like surrounding yourself with people at a whole nother level, like a whole like different level, it's gonna be pretty much impossible for you to be successful. Like, you're gonna stay where you're at, like guaranteed. Like, no fucking bullshit. Like, you're fucked, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but you're fucked. Like, you're gonna never be successful. Sorry to tell you. But it's like, it comes down to like what you're willing to sacrifice, and it comes down to um, like pretty much, yeah, like what you're willing to give up to be successful. Like for me, I cut out pretty much everybody because nobody was doing shit back in my college. Like, or I never met the people that were doing shit. Everyone was just like, no offense to jobs, but everyone just wanted to get a job, like out of college. And I mean, like, like that's cool if like you want to get a job in that field because you love it. But if you're just getting a job just to fucking make money and like whatever, and like you just think that's like your only option, like that's retarded. Like, just like, cut out all the bullshit in your life. Like cut out the fucking Big Macs every day. Cut out the fast food. Um, you can have it once in a while, but like it shouldn't be like the majority of your diet. Like when you eat food that isn't good for you, like that slows down your brain. Like it saps your fucking willpower, and you just become fucking slow. Like you can't fucking function normally if you're fucking keep on putting bullshit into your fucking body. Like you're fucked, dude. Like if you do that, like oh my. Okay, so let's say the regular person. Okay, the regular person who's not successful. What do? They might have a job and they work at that job that they hate. For I say like maybe 5, 6, 8 hours a day. They come back home. They freaking put on the fucking Netflix, like drown themselves out for a few hours, and then they eat some bullshit like fast food probably, or like fucking the pizza or whatever. They fucking scarf that down, and they fucking then after they eat that, they're in some weird fucking haze, and then they watch more Netflix, and then they fucking I guess like brush their teeth and shower and go to bed, and rinse repeat. Or like maybe they not even that, like maybe they talk with like their unsuccessful friends, the friends who are at the same job, or I don't know. I don't even know what normal people do nowadays, honestly. But I'm guessing what they do. Or they play fucking video games all day. Like, yeah, video games, Netflix, whatever the fuck. Like, okay, like, video games is a huge one. I will say, this from an objective standpoint, that I used to play video games a lot. Like, I, even I think, let me say, even when I first started my entrepreneurship journey, I think I was still playing video games. Like, and that is a hugely negative external environmental exposure. Like it does not help you in any way, I don't think. I used to kind of rationalize it too, that like um, that it was like my downtime. But then like here's the thing, like I say playing videos might be fine if you play for like 10, 15 minutes at the end of like grinding like 12 hours a day, 12 to 16. But let's just say that if you're playing video games, you're not gonna just play 10, 15 minutes. Let's be honest here. You're gonna be probably playing for at least an hour, maybe 2 hours. And in that 2 hours, you could be doing so much, and like, you're not putting the right influences in your body, like, or into your minds. Like, you're focusing on something that's bullshit for a few hours, and it is not success content. Like imagine if you spend like 2 hours like reading a book or just listening to an audiobook or a podcast, a success podcast. Like how much better would your life be? Like I'm just going on random rants now. But like imagine how successful you'd be if like you pretty much just stop wasting time and use that time for productive shit. If you're not successful right now, but you want to be, okay, here's my advice. Number one, cut out all toxic people in your life, negative people, people who don't support you, um, even friends who, like, question what you're doing. Or if they're just, I just say if they're not doing the same thing as you, like, stop hanging out with people for like hours upon hours who don't have that same mindset of being successful, because that will rub off on you. Like even if they're like fun, cool people or whatever, like you could be spending that time like with like listening to success like content. Like, I mean, it sounds harsh, and you're like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter, blah blah. They're like my best friend, blah blah. But I mean, it all comes down to what you're willing to sacrifice to be successful. If you want to keep that friend in your life, and you're just like, okay, like I'm gonna keep this friend in my life, but like I'm still gonna do all the audio, blah blah, and like hang out with successful people, stuff. Okay, cool. Okay, you can do that, but just know that it'll take you a lot longer to be successful. Um, like for me, like I did the exact same thing. I thought I could do that as well. I was listening to like success stuff, but I was also hanging out with, uh, I don't want to say degenerates, but like, you know, people that were just drinking, partying, and whatnot for like in the very beginning stages of my entrepreneurship journey, and I was getting mediocre results. You know, I was getting barely, not even average results. And then as soon as I made that shift in my mind of surrounding myself only with like success-oriented people, that's when my life changed fucking rapidly. It all depends on um, what you're willing to sacrifice, to be honest. But yeah, I think that's just what I'm gonna talk about. I think I've been ranting long enough. But anyways, if you got any value from this, please leave me a review with any with the takeaway that you got from the podcast, and follow me on social media and send me a DM, or if you can repost, screenshot like the podcast and repost on your story with like a question or a topic that you want me to cover. Like I will repost on my story, and I will answer your question 100%. So thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you guys next time. Thank you. If you got any value from this, please leave a review, subscribe, or share it on social media. Love y'all. Till next time. Peace.
This is the Gem Podcast, and this is Gav Kwok.